So I'm going to be doing a quick critique on this design and then this one, right? So just real quick. So first of all, we are looking at the headline, right? So let me duplicate this so that it's easier for me to critique without messing up the actual design. So first off, on this end, sorry, I don't know what's on my throat. So what I can one of the issues here now, or the first issue I'm seeing here is legibility, right? You can't use a white text on a light background, right? So it's either a light text to a dark background or a darker text to a lighter background, right? So what we can do here um, is this: we can add kind of a dark rectangle at the back. So just probably do this and then increase the layer blur to like maybe a 75, right? Then bring this guy to the front. Now what you notice is that it's now easier for you to read this back, and it's simple. Even though this is a lighter background, which I think we should make a bit thicker, right? The images at the back just makes it even more distracting, right? So you can see this compared to this, right? So you can do something like this and then probably just increase the layer blur so that it blends in very well, right? Then so something else we're going to look here is there is kind of a wrong hierarchy here. So this is Coca Raffia, the bag everyone is talking about, right? But I think a better way to display this guy would be to do something like so I do not have this font, but I don't have time to check if I have it. So I'm just going to use inter, right? So what we're gonna do is so I'll just use inter for all of them because I don't think I've installed the fonts yet. So what we're gonna do is that the main idea here is this bag, these two stuff, right? So we're gonna say let's just copy this guy, all right, paste here, all right. So we're gonna do capital letter here, right? And then we're gonna do this guy is going to be this just first letter, so we can say cook, or I think that's it, right? So yeah, raffia. Alright, then we do this, do kind of an italic, right? And then we're gonna increase, just tighten this guy a bit to about, let me see, like a 60. Can still tighten that to like a 50, right? So the bag everyone is talking about, for headlines, you do not need to add a period like a full stop or so, right? So we can leave this like this, right? And leave this like this. Copia the bag everyone is talking about. You can probably still make this guy smaller or even more smaller, right? So we can leave this like this, right? And then for the body copy, you want to stick with 22, right? And then fix the so luxury leather, smart design, loved by thousands of, okay, loved by thousands. Now, so one thing in design is that you can actually do something way better than this, and it's basically just, instead of, because as you can see, these are all USPs, right? Or not really USPs, but it can serve like for bullet points, right? So instead of doing the copy this way, instead do like a bullet stuff. So let me see, we'll make the guy white. So I'm just going to use one as an example so you can know what I'm talking about. All right, so you can do something like this, right? So um So this is something like this. Just to spice it up a bit, we can just uh, do something like this. So this is 22 and this is 11. So we can do 10 so that we can get a perfect middle, right? So group these ones and then can do something like this, right? Then group, right? So now we can do something like this and then just scatter it around the design, right? Scatter it around the design, then probably increase this guy to about 26 because I feel like it's just harder to read. Let's increase this to 32, increase this to 34, right? Let's do capital letter. Do we? Let me see. All right, let's just leave it like this. Right, but something else you are going to do here, which is also what we did here, is we're going to put like a darker shade of another color so that it's easier to, right? So let me see, it's paper. Let's just do black, right? Let's do black. Reduce the opacity. Let's start with 35 and see how it goes. Then reduce it a bit like this. Now bring this guy on top. Right, what do you notice? You see that it's easier to read this. Now see the difference. See the difference, right? So you're going to do the same thing for, since it's four bullets, you can just scatter it around. Something like this, right? You can scatter it around instead of doing this, right? So the idea of design is this: if you can make it easier for them to understand using a design element, do it instead of copy. Now imagine this is here and versus this. Now this one is going to get more attention because it's like you're telling them, okay, this is what it is, this is what it can do for you, right? Instead of just the copy. So for whenever you can kind of just interchange something to a design format, it's better than doing a CTA. All right. She is better than doing a CTA. Now, something else you can do here is for your CTA, it doesn't make sense to, or it's not a good design practice to do the blur the way you did. All right. So you can click on this and just close it off. Right. And then for your CTA button, you can just stick with a capital letter and then like a medium. Right, rectangle is regular is usually very, it's too thin for it, so you can go with medium, semi bold, or bold. Right, so let's go with semi bold. Right, so now this would now be um take this guy here and then yeah. Right, so this would be this. Something else you can still do if the client permits, right, is to make this even more bigger so it gets more attention, right? So let's I want it to be in like 3 columns. So let me just quickly fix that. Right, would say something like this. Okay, then make this guy bigger so we can do 100 and see how it goes. All right, the bag, um this is bold. Right, the bag everyone is talking about, right? So we can do something similar. Let's do 55. um so let's do 55. Right, so we have Croatia Rafa. Right, the bag everyone is can do. Let's see what works best. Let me see if we can, if we do like a 30. Okay, so we can do something like this. We just need to adjust the line height and the rest. Right, so we can do something like this. Right, but you only want to do this if the client permits or the brand owner permits you, then you can do something like this, right? Aside that, this is good. Now we can also experiment by making this a black. You can see this it didn't go well, so we're going to leave it as a white and probably center this guy just a bit. Move it up a bit, right? Probably center this guy. This is white, so this has to be white, right? Now this is a difference, right? And then this section, the way I explained, just add it up instead of the copy. Right now, this section is a lot messy. We want to simplify this area, right? We want to simplify this area. Then on new arrivals, okay, this is okay. So one thing you notice is that the product here is very blurry, right? So it's there's we have perceived value, right? If your product doesn't look good, if the imagery isn't good, your readers and subscribers and audience will probably perceive your brand as low quality, right? And we don't want that. So we want to always ensure we want to ensure we have a clear image. And what you can do about this is you either change the image or request for a clearer image or use a software to make it more clearer. And that software you can check on blur image on Google, UNBLUR, on blur image on YouTube, and then on Google rather, you can just upload the each of the images in there, and it's going to help you upload them. It's going to help you make the image clearer, right? Then for this city is too big. This is too big for product recommendations. So this is 68. So one will probably stick with 50. Right, want to stick with 50. All right, want to stick with 50, something like this, right? Better than this, and then center, and probably because we're already doing like capitalizing just the first letters here, right? So for this particular one, we are going to do a capital letter, right? So it makes more, it has contrast. Just move this to semi-bold and then just increase this like a bit, and then move to the middle, probably reduce this to 22, right? So we are better off doing this than any of this. All right, so you want to fix that also. And then this spacing over here is too much. Spacing over here is too much. All right, it's too much. I think red is better here. Spacing here is too much. Fix this spacing is too much. So yeah. And then this takes up a lot of space. Ideally, we want to stick with something around this width so that our design can breathe, right? So this section, sec, right? So we always want to have breathable sections, right? Breathable sections. All right, so let me just do this so that you can see what I'm talking about, right? So this spacing is okay. Yeah, for this section, this is too much, so we want to reduce to something like this, right? So yeah, we also want to pay attention to, because you can see that you didn't this image wasn't completed in this, right? So one of the things that lets a brand or tells your agency or your clients that you're actually paying attention to their brand is that you don't make silly mistakes or minor mistakes that shows that you actually didn't, like, you weren't paying attention when designing the email, like you hurriedly designed it, right? So things like this shows that probably you paid attention, but it shows that you are not good yet, and we do not want them to know about that, right? So you always want to cross check and ensure that things like this are done properly, right? And then when doing something, so I feel like we can center this thing better like this. It creates more rhythm than when it's scattered the way it did, and probably still maintains this exact spacing we want over this place, right? So yeah, and then probably adjust the spacing over here, right? So generally, you can definitely do better with this email, right? You can still watch the video, go over it again, and you understand why I did what I did, right? So these are the ways you can You can just take what you learn from here and also apply it to your own design, right? It's general everywhere, legibility, it's the same graphic design principle. So if you watch this and you see the way you see the corrections being done here, you can also take it and apply it to your own design, right? So yeah, when we move to this one, first things first, we can bring this guy down a bit, right? And then it's kind of done, it's kind of off to have the hero image go um occupy all the space, right? So let me take this out so that I can work on it, right? Right, so it's kind of off to have the hero image this big, right? So most times what you want to do is, because we are optimizing for mobile, we always want the reader to, we don't want to waste space, right? So what would have been better here is probably if, so let me take out this guy, right? Then on group, right? So on group, so I'm going to still change this guy to Montserrat so that we can give the example, right? So when we put this over here, right, so we can do the shoe that changes the outfit. We can do a right alignment, left alignment rather, and just copy, paste, right? Then move this in this place, and then do something like this, right? So we want to ensure each first letters are capitalized. Probably increase or do like a brighter white, right? And then change to medium, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this guy over here like this, right? And then we have so I can probably see some marks over here though, but you can do the shoe that changes, right? The shoe that changes the outfit, right? The shoe that changes the outfit. um I think we can take this guy over here. It is actually what I was trying to do. Right, you should have changed the outfit and then we can just, now mind you, if you remove the background of this particular image, you can remove the background then bring it back in here so that it kind of covers one side of this particular text, right? You can also do that, right? um so yeah, you can do that, and then you can add the city button. So yeah, right, so you can do this, right? You can do this. This is one alternative, but before you do this, you want to ensure that we can stretch the image down to this section, right? Then we have enough space here. We want to do it in a way that the image is still very visible, right? If not, we're going to raise it up a lot more to something like this. This is another alternative. That way we can then come here, right? Left align, like I said, left align, and then just pull in the 58, right? Then you can do left alignment. Just like, you can do left alignment, then move this guy a bit here, and then the shop now, right? Shop now looked current, yeah. So in there, right? Enter, remove this, change this to capital letter, then increase to like a semi bold, right? Then we can do something like this, right? We can do something like this. Now we can also do something like this, like what is being done here. We can also do it for this section, but it will only make sense we do it if the shoe, like the image of the shoe, is very very. So let me quickly just show you another example, right? So if we raise this guy up, like raise the shoe to an extent it's still visible, right? Then we can move this guy upward, right? We can move this guy up to those points, right? We can still do this, and it's going to be okay because now it's not taking a lot of space, right? Alternatively, we can still do something else because now we are not we are optimizing for schemability, right? And this hand is literally not doing much work, right? So we can do something like this. We can take this, then take this, reduce the, yeah, raise it up, right? Then create like a layer blow, add a layer blow effect, put, let's do 120, right? But now say 120. All right, we'll do 120 and then raise it up down to something like this, right? And the reason we are doing this is so that we can take this, the header, the subheader, and the CTA even more further, right? Now we are trying to optimize it so it's once they open the email, they'll quickly see this, right? We can still optimize to something like this. All right, so you can see different ways we can do this, but the main and the first idea is that this image shouldn't take a lot of space. That is basically the idea behind raising the images up. All right, now when we move to the body, right, this makes sense, but this is a dark background and this is a black shoe, right? So it doesn't make sense, or it's not a proper or a good design practice to put a dark background, put place a black shoe on a gray, which is also a dark background, right? So what we want to do instead is actually place this guy here like this. This is a better practice than leaving it the way it is. I think both one doesn't. It's still very similar. This makes it even more harder to identify it, right? So probably what we want to do is maybe create like a circle, right? White, then just do like a drop shadow, do like maybe 35, right? And then reduce the opacity, and then still bring this guy to the front. That way it's not very obvious like that, but it still makes sense, right? And then probably add like a shadow, probably like add like shadow of the image. It's gonna be very, very little shadow. So just take this guy down like this, then add like an effect, right? So let's do 8, then reduce the opacity like this, right? This is also one way to bring life to the design, right? And then something else, whenever you are arranging your text, this isn't a proper practice, right? So let me change this to enter, change this to enter, right? It doesn't make sense to break up your text the way it is. So let's just do like this, right? And then bring this like this, right? Now, you notice that I didn't actually know this was a testimonial. Whenever I wear these heels, people notice, right? This was a testimonial, but I couldn't tell till I had to do what I did now, like read this and separate this before I knew that, oh, wait, this was even a testimonial. So you do not want to hide the information. Testimonials are one way to kind of increase your conversions very well. So you don't want to make mistake and not make it legible, right? So for this particular section, you would have been very much to make it obvious. Like if you go on Pinterest and you search for testimonial testimonial design, all right, testimonial design, you are going to see a lot, right? You're just going to look through it and you are going to see the one you can work with, right? Now you can work with this one, right? You can also work with this one, right? Here's if you look at this, you see that this is by the left hand side, and our design allows us to put at the left hand side. So what we would have probably done is to actually put the review at that section, right? Put the review at this section. You can take one of the styles here and use them. Exactly. Now you see the way this image is on this query thing, this message sign. You see the way the image is kind of on top of it. That's what I was talking about over I think I should that was what I was talking about when I said you should, when you are putting the text here, you can make the image come to the front so that it looks like this text is behind it, right? Just um just the way it is over here, right? So you can still use this one. This one says you can still use this one, right? So just look for designs that works for you and then just place them, right? Because this is a testimonial and it's not appropriate to make it hidden the way it is. right? We always want our design to look good and to convert. And for it to convert, you need to pay attention to certain things like this. All right. Now let's go. So this is new in. Right. Another thing we want to pay attention to is consistency. Right. So if we use this for the headline, we want to kind of just use that same pattern for the rest of that particular image. Right. I mean, you can break the rule sometimes, but it's just best to keep the same pattern. Right. And then for this one, I can tell you that we don't use bold for text. Right. For long text like this, we want to stick with regular. Now compare this to this. So this is easier to read, right? And if you even want to take it a step further, right? So you don't want to add a kern to a text, you reduce the opacity by some just 25 or so from 100 to 75. And now you see how much it's easier to actually read this text as compared to when it was 100, right? That one is more gentle on the eye, right? So also this is really unorganized, right? You don't want to, so let me quickly just change this to enter. All right, so left align, fix the right top, shouldn't be that way, right? So this is good. All right, how many text is here? So we can do something like this. All right, this is Maya layout sander, so we can actually capitalize this, increase to like a semi bold, then left align, reduce the line height to probably 26. So okay, we can still reduce it to like 24. Right. So we can do this. Right. Can do this. And now we'll put this somewhere here. Put this guy somewhere here. Right. And then this CMO, you always want to pay attention to your design. You can't just design randomly and then you expect clients to see your work and be happy with it. Right. You always want to pay attention to this. Please do not kern body text. You can only kern subheadlines, right? So, but aside that, please do not kern, right? So, we'll make this a capital letter, right? Reduce the line height so that it stays like this. Put it here and then center. I think this is 40. Okay, this is okay. Center align this guy, right? Group it, and then something like this. Now compare this to this. This looks more organized and it kind of tell the reader where and what to read, right? So yeah, just make the same changes to all these places. And while watching this video, you can also take the lessons you learn from here and just apply it to your own designs, right? This is kind of a live critique, right? You can take the lessons you learn from here, just apply it to your own design. All right, this is okay, but I feel like the space is too much. Can just stick with something like this and then fix the space in here. Space in here is off, and then also fix this, increase, capitalize, and then center align, right? This also fix the spacing. This spacing is too much. Tighten the line height, right? Just like tighten the line height, right? Tighten the line height, and then change this to for body text. I will for body text stick with regular, except it's a very thin font. Then you can go to bold or medium or semi bold, right? So yeah, do that, and then yeah, this is good. But something we can do is actually add like this stuff at the back, right? So let's bring this to the front. So the way you bring something to the front is you right click and then you bring to the front. If you're on Windows, you right click. If you are on Mac, use your two fingers to press the touch bar and you're going to bring that option, then bring to the back. So we want to change the color to maybe like something like this, right? Something like this, and then just put at the back. Gives it more visual depth, right? And then yeah, basically that's what you can do to just help you design your emails better, right? So yeah, Just take what you learn and apply it to your own design. You can watch the video again if not every anything was not clear. And if you have a question, you can always drop it on the comment section and I'll do it to answer you, right? So yeah, thank you.